Thank you for joining this session. In this session, I myself and Yuval, that is co-hosting this workshop, will explain how to install an AI knowledge base and integrate it into Slack, and then give him a context of the cloud infrastructure. And we will show you few use cases following that type of integration. It will be a fully, I will say, technical and hands-on kind of session to go through the entire process from having nothing to having that Slackbot running. And if you have any questions, just use the chat. We will find some time during the installation where there is some waiting time to answer questions, and if there will be other questions in the end, we will address them by the end of the workshop. So my name is Eran Bibi. I'm the co-founder and chief product and technology officer of Firefly. With me, Yuval.
Hello everyone, I am Yuval Fatal. I'm really happy to be here. I am at Firefly since the beginning. I started as a backend engineer and wrote few of our major products. And in the last few years, I moved to the product side of the company, and now I'm the product manager of those major products that I wrote. And yeah, let's kick it off, Eran.
Thank you, Yuval. So let's dive in. Few words about Firefly. Firefly is a cloud infrastructure automation. We are helping cloud practitioners to get better control over the cloud infrastructure by migrating them into fully IAC managed system. We have an IAC automation and orchestration, cloud asset management to get visibility for all of your cloud assets, and a cloud governance capability to make sure that everything that's been in the cloud will be as defined in your policy. We will show you a bit about Firefly later on in the workshop, once we will integrate Firefly into the Slackbot. And of course, worth to mention, we have a presence in PlatformCon, the physical day in UK tomorrow, and in New York in the following day. If you are located nearby, stop to the Firefly booth. We are having a raffle of Nintendo Switch 2, and you have an opportunity to see Firefly in action. So as for the toolbox for the actual workshop, this session, of course, will be recorded, and you will have the opportunity to watch that after that, if you are not able to keep up with the phase of installation, so don't worry about that. But what I will do in order to complete the installation of the Slackbot is to have a VM available to me. I will use that specific configuration of 8 cores and 16 gigabytes of RAM. I also will have an SSH access from my personal VM into the server where I'm going to install the AI system. I will use the OpenAI API key, so this is something that is essential for completing the process. But if you have Claude and other type of AI provider API keys, it will work as well. In this specific workshop, I will use my OpenAI key. And in order to complete the installation of the Slack, you will have to be an admin in your Slack workspace with a permission to install bot. So this will be required as well. And for the final part, to integrate Firefly into that AI system, you need a Firefly account with a cloud account integrated into Firefly, and this is something that is available for use as a self-service. And of course, you can try it for free. And that's it from tool set perspective. So let me just show you a flow of how this system going to be look like by showing you a step-by-step of the processes. we're going to implement in this workshop. So first of all, we're going to launch a VM. Specifically, I'm going to use a sandbox account in AWS to spin up an EC2 instance. Once this instance is ready, I'm going to deploy an open source tool called Onyx. I will explain about Onyx in the next slide. Then I'm going to integrate Onyx into my OpenAI using the OpenAI key as the AI agent engine for the activity of this AI facility. And then I will show you some of the connectors that Onyx provide out of the box. There is plenty of connectors. In this case, we will connect a few PDFs and a website. This is for the AI to get knowledge, the source of knowledge for the AI. And of course, you can use other types of connectors that Onyx provide out of the box. Then we will do the Slack integration by integrating Onyx into Slack using Slackbot integration. So every question that you will ask, you don't need to use the Onyx interface. You can just use Slack, very convenient. And the last part that Yuval will demonstrate is how to integrate Firefly into Onyx as one of the assistants of Onyx. So Onyx is able not just to integrate with knowledge sources, also with something that's called assistance, and assistance can be a third-party utility, and we will use the Firefly API in order to integrate that, and that will bring the context of your cloud infrastructure into the Slackbot. So it's not just about querying from data, it's also about querying the live state of your infrastructure. Very good. So the step will be launching an EC2, install Onyx on the VM using package management and Git. I will show you exactly. We will connect Onyx to OpenAI, add the knowledge, integrate the Slackbox, integrate Firefly. Pretty much a simple process that everybody can try to do that either during this session or after that using the recorded session. So a bit about Onyx. So Onyx is the main system in this workshop, and of course it's open source, and that's why we thought it will be very good to share that with the community. We are in Firefly Onyx users. We are using that internally. I really enjoy using this product, and of course, if you like it, you feel free to do start in GitHub. Onyx also offer a cloud version for people that don't want to manage the infrastructure, like the hosting the Onyx instance in their infrastructure. So the cloud version is available as well. And from my interaction from the Onyx support, they are very responsive and they are growing. Like in terms of capability, they are really growing very fast, and there is a lot of connectors after the box. So I really recommend you to check it out and try it. Very easy to implement, as you going to see here in this workshop. With that, I'm going to share my AWS console to spin up a new VM. So just to give you a disclaimer, we are encouraging everyone to use IAC in order to create infrastructure. Right now, I'm going to use ClickOps, meaning creating VM using the Cloud Console. It's not the best practice, of course, but I'm doing that only for the sake of this live workshop, making sure that everything will be clear and smooth. And of course, do not use that kind of approach in production, only in testing. And later on, I will show you how Firefly can help you to transform ClickOps into IAC in a very simple way. So what I'm going to do right now is click Launch Instance. Let me just give it a name tag, Onyx Workshop. And of course, this is this is a live demo, right? So let's pray for the demo gods that everything will go as smooth. Of course, some hiccups might be possible, and we have some backups planned for that as well. So from the spec, I will use a relatively large instance, I will say. I will use the C5 2X extra large. And of course, for accurate sizing, I will recommend you to check out the documentation of Onyx really to know how to properly size. And I will show you there is few other types of installation. You don't need to use EC2. I'm going to use EC2 and Docker. I didn't mention that, but I guess for highly available system, it will be recommended to use the Kubernetes version, making sure that everything is done in Kubernetes if you will decide to host it and not use the cloud version of the host. So for key pair, I'm going to use a pre-created key pair that I created before, Onyx Workshop, and I will use this existing security group that I have here, this one. And for storage, of course, this 8 GB is not enough for the Onyx installation. I will give it, for the sake of the demo, 100 GB. And of course, for the accurate sizing, production level sizing, there is a very good documentation on the Onyx website. So this is just for the demo. So let's do launch instance and see if this instance is available. And let's see the IP address. While stuff are being provisioned or installed, feel free to drop a question in the Zoom, and I will do my best to answer while we are waiting for stuff to be initialized. Okay, so I have this public IP. Let me now share my terminal screen. Okay. Very good. So I will try to SSH the new VM that we created. And I have here a few notes that I took of the commands that need to be done in the VM itself in order to complete the installation. And of course, everything is being mentioned in the guide in the Onyx website, so don't worry about that. I just copied into my VS Code because it's more convenient. Very good. So what I did, I used my my SSH key and did an SSH to the new VMs, and now I'm in. This is an Amazon Linux type of VM, and I will start with installing the prerequisites of the VM with updating the package and install Git. I need Git in order to clone the open source repository of Onyx into my VM in order to spin up the containers. So let's start with that. It's supposed to be very fast. Okay, I have Git installed. That was easy. Now I'm going to the next step, which is installing Docker. Once the Docker installation is basically ready, I'm adding the Docker user, my user into the Docker group. So my user will be able to do Docker run commands. It's very important. And in order to allow that, I just need to relog in to refresh the session. So let me just exit and SSH again. And Docker -/- will give me an indication that Docker is installed on my VM. So I'm moving on to Docker Compose. So the easiest way to get Onyx running without having dealing with container orchestration will be having a Docker Compose available. So let me install Docker Compose into my VM. That's it. I have a Docker Compose running, and now the Onyx part. So I'm cloning the Onyx repository. And here there is a deployment directory that have few manifests available. I'm going to use the Docker Compose command in order to spin up the Docker Compose dev YAML file. And this will be the easiest way to get Onyx running. And of course, this is not how to do that for a production level, but for testing, it's working very well. So this part will basically pull in the several containers that are the services of Onyx that need to be run in order to have the Onyx application available. It will take a few minutes, so this is a good opportunity if anyone have question. If not, I will just go to the Onyx website to show you some of the deployment options that are available. Yes, so Ashley asked, no private networking, no meshing. So again, what I'm showing right now is just the quick start guide. I will say the testing guide, and of course, once you are ready for deploying Onyx as a production, you have options to authenticate with Google and create an highly available deployment in Kubernetes. This is the way to run Onyx on production. And I mentioned that it's very important for people that don't want to use self-hosted. There is a cloud version. And again, depending on your use case, it might be a good opportunity to check the cloud version as well. So just to show you the documentation of Onyx, to give you a glimpse, everything that I add in my VS Code notes, I just copy it from here. The setup instructions are very simple. And someone asked me in the chat if I'm going to share that in GIST. So I will do that, of course, so that cheat sheet will be available to you as well. And here you can see some of the options that are available here. So I'm using this option, the EC2. Just note that from the sizing recommendation of Onyx, will be using a different type of instance. So just make sure not to have over provision or under provision. Really depend on the amount of data that you would like to integrate with that knowledge system. And if you would like to install it in EKS or ECS, there is instructions here how to spin up the actual infrastructure and how to deploy, I guess, using an Helm chart. So this will be the preferred way to do that for production. Let me go back to see if we are ready. So it's still pulling. There is, let me share my screen again. There is something like, I think 20 gigabytes of of storage being pulled, relatively large size of containers. You can see like the number of services that being involved here for the backend of Onyx. Let me check out if there is more question while it's loading. Okay, so let me go back to the Onyx documentation screen. So what important is that here you have additional configuration if you would like to have a DNS record for the instance, or the really describing how to do that. And this is something that is essential. If you would like to have authentication, like the basic installation, what I'm doing right now will be without any authentication to the system. So anyone that have access to the IP address of the server will be able to access Onyx. And of course, if you would like to use your Google workspace or other type of authentication methods, there is a configuration file that need to be configured. And using OAuth, you can do that kind of authentication and making sure that it's to authorize the person that is accessing Onyx. So Vishai asked, is Onyx the orchestrator between all of the integratable service? So Onyx, it's basically an AI knowledge system that is getting data source, is indexing data source into his vector database and provide a chat interface so you can interact with your data source. And data source can be either document sites, Jira, Confluence. There is a lot of connectors. I will show you once it will be ready. And of course, Onyx can be integrated with Slack. We will do that. And so I will not consider Onyx as the orchestrator, but this is basically the AI engine that is holding your personal data so you can interact with that. Another question that in the chat: if we configure Onyx locally, will be any information being sent to Onyx? So I didn't investigate it truly, but I think the answer is no. It's an open source tool that able to be installed self-hosted, and it will work even if there is a private kind of network. I didn't see any requirement for trafficking out to the Onyx cloud or something like that. So everything is being done locally. The only thing you need to make, the only interaction externally will be to the connectors and to the AI LLM provider, which is OpenAI or Claude. And you can see here, if I'm going to the LLM providers, so you can use OpenAI, Anthropic, and if you have like a local provider, I guess, using Llama or local kind of LLM, it can be integrated as well. I didn't test it, to be honest. I test only Claude and OpenAI, but I think in terms of their cloud service is not something that is essential for the open source version. So this is very good from a security perspective. Very good. So let me show my screen. It's about to be complete, the installation. I think it was something like 10 minutes overall. So very good. So here you can see, let me just change here. Okay. So everything is being created by the Docker Compose file. And the person that asked about Firefly, Firefly will be the connector for the cloud infrastructure, and I will show that once we will done with the Slack integration to forward. Docker PS, and you can see that Onyx is basically available on port 3000. So what I will try to do right now is to access the Onyx web interface. Let me share my browser again.
He's being good.
Okay, so it's not available. Let me check the logs. Usually it's taking a few minutes for the application server to run. Let's do that together. I will share my screen again with the terminal. Okay. So I'm going to check the Nginx container, which is this one, to see if Onyx is running. Okay, so you see here there is a disclaimer that sometimes it's taking like 5 minutes for the API server of the backend to run. And when I did I was practicing the installation of Onyx several times. It's usually taking a few minutes since the container are running until the application itself is available. Really depend on the size of the VM that you are using and whether it's per the specification that is recommended by Onyx. But in any case, I'm now making sure that, okay, it seems like ready. Let me share my browser again. Okay, very good. So as you can see, as I mentioned, without any authentication, because I didn't set up authentication, the first screen will be providing an AI model API key. Those are the providers that are available out of the box. I see here there is a custom. I didn't test that. As I mentioned, I test only OpenAPI and Tropic. So let's stick with OpenAPI for that specific demo. Just paste it, enable. Very good. So the first screen, as you see, it's a chat interface, right? Right now, the initial state is that Onyx without any, I would say, personal data or any type of connector. So the interaction will be only against the knowledge of the LLM that you integrated. I can just see if it works. How are you today? To see if my API key is valid. I'm just a computer program. I don't have a feeling here ready for any question information. Very good. Seems like it's working. So I will go right away to connect some knowledge. So here you can see this is a section of the connectors, and you have an add a connector. And I think this is basically the advantage of Onyx. Beside the fact that it's open source and it's available for free to use, is that there is a lot of connectors out of the box, and most of them really, really good. So the most simple one will be upload a file, like a PDF or whatever. You can also integrate your Google Drive. Stuff that I was testing in the Firefly instance, we are integrating Jira, we are integrating Confluence, which is our internal wiki. And Of course, you can add websites, documentation sites, any type of sites that is available for the knowledge you would like to accumulate in this AI system. And just for the sake of the demo, let me integrate and upload like few files that I have here available, and then we will able to query them. So give me a second. Okay. So let's start with the AWS well-architected framework. I have this PDF here and create a connector. We'll basically upload this file, and now it's basically pending for indexing, and depend on the size of the connector, the size of the data, it's the time it will take it to complete. It's relatively fast, usually, I will say. Let's have another one. Let's have something that I think most of you are familiar, which is the state of platform engineering. And selected that PDF as well, create a connector. And of course, if you're using the web connector, you can set up the interval of when Onyx need to basically check for changes in the site, because PDF are static. They don't, Onyx don't need to rescan them again because the data is static, but the website will be changing. So you can basically scrape a website once in a day, once in a few hours. It's configurable. So while it's working to index the data that I have here in my PDF and accumulate it for the knowledge, let's move on with integrating Slack. I will just stop for a second to see if there is any questions. Is Onyx an MCP server? So the answer is not yet, and again, this is per my knowledge by discussing with the Onyx team. They are working on it. This is what I know. I will suppose that there will be an MCP client. There will serve as an MCP client to interact with our system, but also serve as an MCP server itself. But again, I didn't test it, so maybe it's changed since the last time. Let's go with Slackbot. This is very important. No one would like to access this interface to interact with the knowledge, and Slack, I think, is the most convenient way to basically get answers for questions, and just to share with you use cases. So right now we are focusing on the data that is specific for platform and cloud engineering, but you can basically add company policies, HR policies, and having the Slack bot answer specific questions on a specific channel. So you can have like a channel that is for travel policy, and that bot will have knowledge only for the travel policy of the company. So it's really easy to segregate data between knowledge and channel. This is something very, very good. So let me refresh here. So going here to the integration of Slack connectors, set up Slackbot. Very good. So as I mentioned in the start of the call, you need to be a workspace admin in order to create an application in Slack. So assuming you have that, you're good to go. You click here, create new app. Let me do a side by side here so it will be easier. create new app, select from manifest, workspace. I will do that in the Firefly community workspace. Changing to YAML and just copy and pasting this configuration here and click next and create. Okay, now what I need to do is generate an app level token. This one, I will call it Onyx workshop token. And following the instructions, I'm adding a scope here, which is connection right. Click generate, copy, done. Let me save it. Very good. Now I'm going to the OAuth permission and under feature, which is here. And under our token for your workspace, I will do install and allow. Copy. This is the bot, right? This is the bot user token, right? So let me save that as well. What I will do is to show you an example of Onyx on one of my other instances that I have here as a backup. Great. Great. So let me go over some of the connectors that I have here. And maybe what I will do is to add another one. File, do that here. It's another instance. It's not the same instance that was dead. Very good. Very good. So let me show my Slack to show you how the integration look like. So once you have the app token and the user bot token, you do a new Slack bot and just put the name of the Slack bot, paste here the token that you saved before and the app token, click create, and what you are getting basically it's this entry, and that's it. You have Onyx ready in your Slack. And the way that you're working with Onyx on your Slack, and give me a second, I will just share my Slack screen again, is by either sending a private message, so you can do something like, what you can tell me about Firefly. And then he will indicate with the icon of the eyes that he saw the message, and he will reply in thread. There is no, okay, so this bot specifically doesn't have the context from the knowledge perspective of the site, but let's wait for that AWS document that I was adding. Just see here. Give me a second. And another way that you have here is to give to add into a channel. So if there is like a question in the channel, you can tag Onyx and he will answer based on his knowledge. And every time there is an answer of the knowledge, you can actually see the source, whether it's a document, a site, and unfortunately, until I will spin up that instance again, I will not be able to show that. So what I suggest, Yuval, if we can go to the integration of Firefly, and then meanwhile I will try to repair the actual bot that was stuck.
Yes, sure. Would you like me to share a little bit about Firefly first?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is Firefly. Firefly is a cloud infrastructure automation platform, and it's dedicated for platform users, DevOps, and SREs to basically view your entire cloud at Firefly, and we help you create automations on the cloud. Firefly integrates with multiple clouds and SaaS providers and even Kubernetes too, and scans all your assets across those integrations and shows you everything in one pane of glass here in the inventory page. Firefly periodically scans all those assets and show it here. Moreover, Firefly scan your IAC status, so you will be able to see the IAC coverage across all your assets in the cloud. So here you can see that I have an asset on AWS that is unmanaged, meaning it is not being managed by IAC. On the other hand, I have assets that are codified, meaning they are managed by IAC. This asset is managed by CloudFormation. And we also have Terraform, managed by Terraform, and we support multiple types of IAC. And we also detect drifts and help remediate drifts. This is basically very short about the inventory. Firefly also connects to your code and scans all your IAC code and scans your cloud assets for any policy violations and even cloud waste violations that can be minimized. Firefly also connect to your audit logs of your cloud trail in AWS or in Azure or in GCP, and shows you any event that has been made manually, basically ClickOps. So here you can see someone that manually updated a DynamoDB table, and you can see here more information about these ClickOps events. In addition to ClickOps, we also track for CLI and SDK events and for mutations, which we call any configuration change either with IAC or not. Firefly is also an IAC orchestration tool. You can connect you can use Firefly to deploy Terraform to your cloud. Firefly show you here all the steps of your deployment, and we scan either the code and as well the plan. We scan any plan and enforce using guardrails. We can enforce those policies or even costs and even tags. So for example, here I have an asset that is going to be created and two assets that are going to be changed. Here I have a guardrail that was set that found a violation and basically stopped the deployment from being applied. This is very quick about Firefly.
So before moving on, Yuval, let me just quickly share my Onyx instance again. So I was able to resurrect that VM, and we can just continue from the exact same spot. So thank you, Yuval, for the very quick overview of Firefly. We will show you how to integrate Firefly in a moment. So this is the demo instance. We have the two files, the state of platform engineering and the well-architected framework as a knowledge, and we were about to integrate Slack. So let's do that. The name of this Slackbot will be workshop. And let me just copy paste that Slackbot token and app token that I saved before. So this one is the Slackbot token, and this one is the app token. Great. No. Okay. So this is the configuration of the Slackbot. You can basically have a specific channel configuration and restrict knowledge into channel. Very flexible. We did try that. It's working very well. I will keep the configuration here as default just for the demo, and just let me show you how it's look like in Slack. So let me share my Slack, and I will show you a few use cases of how to use the data. Very good. So as I was about to show you, one of the stuff that you can do here is to ask him question directly as a private message. And I will try to ask him a question that the answer is rely on the knowledge that I just added. So the question that I will test is, what are the primary design principles for cost optimization? And of course, this is something that's supposed to be gathered from the AWS well architected. So sending this question, it will show you that he reacting, and then if he have a good answer, he will reply in thread into that message. So you can see there is a reply here, and see here the primary design principle cost optimization will be adopt consumption model. This is one. Measure overall efficiency, stop spending money on data center operation, and then he also showing you what is the source. What is the source of the knowledge? And of course, if you are integrating a lot of connectors, Confluence, Wikis, Notion, whatever, it's very important to know what is the source of the knowledge. And there is also a feedback loop, whether the answer was good or not. And you can reiterate in threads. So each thread it's basically like a chat on the same subject. So he's keeping the context of the entire chat. And Yuval, if you can send me a message in a channel, a question, and I will show you how to use the Onyx bot in a different way, just to make sure it's also collaborative with other people. So here I have a channel called Workshop, and Yuval send a message to all of the people in this channel. What are the primary design principles? It's the same question. And for this question, what I can do, I can just reply in thread and just mention Onyx. Onyx is not in the channel because this is the first time I'm using it. So we will add him to the channel. And you can see that he's indicating that he basically see the question and he will answer, so everybody will able to see be explicit with him. Can you answer right like that? Okay, and now we answer and exactly the same type of answer. Let's try some other method. If I'm in channel and I would like to ask him a question, I can just mention him and then put another question like, tell me about the platform architectural patterns. And he's indicating that he was seeing that message. Firefly, refer to the structure approach of design, implement platform system, particularly in the context of platform engineering. And of course, he got that from the state of the platform engineering report that I was uploaded then. So you can use it either on private chat or in channel by adding him to the channel and mention him in a specific thread. He will read the thread and he will answer. We are using that sometimes with when we have channels with customers that asking for support. And if we know that Onyx have the knowledge to answer, we just mention Onyx in the thread, and Onyx is answering that question. And it's configurable. You can have him answering automatically without mentioning, and there is some flexibility in the way that how Onyx is basically listening to specific conversations. With that, Yuval, let's see how to integrate Firefly into the Onyx system.
Yes, let's go.
Let me give you the IP address of
I have it. I have it.
Amazing.
So let's continue in the admin panel. So as asked, Onyx not yet supporting MCP, but it does support adding actions, adding custom actions. So under the actions, we can create a new action. This is a custom action, and I need to give it the Firefly OpenAI API spec. So Firefly will provide this once you want to integrate with Onyx. So let me paste it here, and I can see all the actions that can be used by Onyx now. In order to authenticate to Onyx, I need to add two headers. They will contain sensitive information, so give me a few seconds to edit without sharing my screen. And if you want to check for questions in the meantime.
Yes, so there was one question from Krishna. If you will consider the context of the old thread, and the answer is yes. So sometimes we have a thread with a lot of people responding, and then what I would like to do is just say, Onyx, please conclude this thread. And he will basically take all of the knowledge, all of the correspondence in that thread and just give bullets and a button line. Sometimes he will add his own kind of knowledge and perspective if you will ask him to do that. Like, Onyx, what is the decision? Or Onyx, can you give me the meeting, the notes? Like if it was a long thread and you want only the highlights, give me the bullets of what happened here. Yes, we are fixing near ask if we are fixing drift. Yes, when you are this is for Firefly, of course, not related to Onyx. So when Firefly identify drifts, a fix can be either reconcile the IAC to the cloud and basically override the manual configuration, or to fix the IAC code, making sure the IAC code is in line with the new configuration of the cloud, and Firefly is basically automating those two approach.
Okay, so you can see here that I have added the custom action of Firefly. It gathers all the information from the OpenAPI spec that we provide to you. And in order to use this custom action, we need to create an assistant. An assistant is like a specific assistant for a specific use case. So our use case is cloud assistant. So let's create that cloud assistant. I will need to give it a name, a description, and instructions. So the instructions will help the AI do the job. I can give an additional context to this specific assistant from the knowledge base that we already added to Onyx. I will skip this part, and I will choose the Firefly custom action and choose the default model of the latest OpenAI. Let's create that assistant. Now I have this assistant. I can make it public, and you can use it directly from the Onyx UI. Sorry, let's go back. So you can see here, I can use it directly from the Onyx UI. Let's ask him, list me all IAM users. So it connected to my Firefly account. And you can see here, it listed my only IAM user of this demo account. So it's basically connected to Firefly. Now we should let the Slackbot knows to use this assistant. So I will use what Eran has created, but you can use another Slackbot, or you can create a specific channel configuration to use that assistant. Let's say to your the platform team, so only them will be able to use this assistant. So I will choose this specific assistant, Cloud Assistant, and let's update it. So now the Slackbot will know how to use this specific assistant, and let's try it in the Slack. Let's tell him to list all EC2 instance. So Onyx listed the only EC2 instance that we have, and it showed some information. Now let's tell him to codify this instance into Terraform.
Should you reply in the same thread, Yuval, or open a new thread?
Both. We can do both. It doesn't really matter. Let's give it a second. So you can see here, now I have the Terraform code of that instance. Onyx basically replied. And of course, because it's AI, I can use more complex prompts to have a more specific Terraform code. The last
before the last example, Yuval, and thank you for showing that. Just to give you more context about the Firefly system. So we are now showing you an example of querying an AWS accounts, but as Yuval mentioned in his brief, we are a multi-cloud system. You can also integrate Kubernetes cluster and then also query for Kubernetes configuration. And we are also supporting integration of SaaS systems from the landscape of the cloud operations like Datadog, New Relic, PagerDuty, CloudFront. So everything that is being done as a data source to Firefly will be accessible through the Slack integration.
And the last example, I asked him to list all public buckets. And you can see here that it listed all the buckets that I have, and none of those buckets are public, so I am good. That's about the connection with Firefly.
Thank you, Yuval. So we are about to wrap up. There is a few questions. Let me try to answer them. So Michael asked regarding the integration with Firefly, is there a specific capability of service from the Firefly side enable Onyx to query the inventory in a conversational way, or Onyx is simply leveraging the standard Firefly API GET request to achieve functionality? So let me quickly share Firefly again. So when we built Firefly, we're really trying to make Firefly really an AI native system. We have Firefly as an MCP server that is available to integrate with Cursor, Windsurf, Claude, any type of MCP client. And the Onyx system is still not able to integrate through MCP. So the way that Yuval just showed you is integrating by providing the Onyx, the API specification of Firefly with the inventory API, with the codification API. So the work that you see right now in the chat is basically Onyx querying the API, digesting the data, and replying back with the context.
There is a question about the permissions that we give Onyx. So the permission is API permission to Firefly. It can run actions like drift remediation, but Firefly is a read-only platform. So Firefly won't destroy any of your resources unless you are using the IEC orchestration of Firefly. It's a different product that you can do those actions there, and you can use your self-hosted runners to do that as well, instead of giving Firefly the right permissions.
For sure. And I didn't mention that, but you can try Firefly for free. We have basically a self-service flow that you can just go on without talking with anyone. Access to the system, integrate your cloud, and just try it. And of course, Firefly representative will be more than happy to help you and assist you while you are trying the solution we built. And if there is no more questions, I think we are ready to wrap up. Anything else from your side, Yuval?
Nope. Just if you want to share something that I didn't share yet in the Firefly UI.
I think we are good to go. Let me see. There is no more questions I did answer. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you very much, and sorry for the few hiccups. You know, this is this is how live demo going usually. I really hope you enjoy that and you have some takeaways to try yourself, either Onyx or Firefly, or Onyx with Firefly, which is the most recommended solution right now. Thank you, Yuval, for co-hosting this workshop. And if you have a chance to visit tomorrow, the UK Platform Con Day, Firefly will be there. So just stop by and say hello. And thank you for joining and thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great job, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.